Commander Allison Wright adjusted her uniform one last time before the airlock door opened. This moment would go down in human history, the first official meeting between humanity and the Galactic Council. Behind her stood 5 crew members, each chosen for their expertise and calm temperament. Dr. Peter Baker, the ship's biologist, couldn't stop fidgeting with the sample case he carried. "Doctor, are you sure bringing those specimens is necessary?" Allison asked quietly. Peter nodded, enthusiastically. "Absolutely, Commander. The Council requested examples of Earth's ecological diversity. These sealed containers have some of our most successful evolved species." "Just keep them sealed," she said with a slight smile. The airlock completed its cycle with a soft hiss, and the door slid open. The sight before them was breathtaking. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous, with a domed ceiling that seemed to display the actual galaxy in real time. Around a horseshoe-shaped table sat representatives from 12 different alien species. They were big, much bigger than humans had expected. The smallest delegate stood about 7 feet tall with blue-tinged skin and 4 arms. Others had exoskeletons that clicked as they moved, thick protective hides or scales that shimmered under the chamber's lights. None looked remotely human. A tall, slender alien with translucent skin approached them. "Welcome, Earth delegates. I am Zargathon, Council Facilitator. We are pleased to finally meet the newest spacefaring species." The words came through the translation devices each human wore on their collar. Commander Wright stepped forward and gave the practiced greeting. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we thank you for this welcome and look forward to peaceful cooperation among the stars," the alien delegates murmured appreciatively, their various translation devices creating a soft background buzz. "Please join us at the table," Zargathon said, gesturing with a 7-fingered hand. "We have many questions about your world." The humans followed, trying not to stare at the diverse beings around them. Lieutenant Josh Miller, the communications specialist, whispered, "They're looking at us like we're children." He wasn't wrong. The alien delegates watched the humans with expressions that seemed to mix curiosity with something almost like pity. As the humans took their seats, in specially provided chairs that wouldn't leave their feet dangling, Allison noticed several aliens leaning toward each other, making comments behind raised appendages. "Remarkable how small they are," one said, not realizing the translation devices worked both ways. "Yet they achieved spaceflight with such fragile forms?" another responded. Dr. Lisa Cooper, the ship's medical officer, tapped notes into her tablet. "Commander," she whispered, "their biology is fascinating. No species here appears to have less than 2 protective layers: exoskeletons, scales, thick hide." The formal introductions began, with each council member presenting their species and world. The humans listened politely, though they struggled to pronounce many of the names. When it was Earth's turn, Commander Wright gave a brief history of humanity's journey to the stars. "And what makes your world unique?" asked a massive delegate with rocky skin. "Each world contributes something special to our galactic community." Peter Baker eagerly stood up. "I can show you. Earth has the most diverse biosphere yet discovered. We've brought samples of various organisms that demonstrate our planet's evolutionary path." He opened his case, revealing several sealed containers, with specimens, plant seedlings, insects in stasis, and small aquatic creatures. The aliens leaned forward with interest. "These containers hold examples of Earth's incredible biodiversity," Peter explained. "From microorganisms to complex life forms. This one contains mosquitoes, one of our oldest surviving insect species." As he lifted the container, his fingers slipped on a control panel. There was a soft click, then a hiss. Peter's face went pale. The container seal had failed. A cloud of 20 or so mosquitoes buzzed into the air of the council chamber. "Oh no," Peter whispered. "I'm so sorry, just a minor malfunction. They're harmless, really." To the humans, this was an embarrassing but minor incident. To the aliens, it was something else entirely. A high-pitched alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. Zargathon's translucent skin flashed bright red. "Containment breach. Microscopic predators released." The council erupted in panic. Delegates leapt from their seats, some pressing themselves against walls, others rushing for exits. One massive bear-like alien overturned the table in its haste to escape. "What's happening?" Commander Wright shouted over the chaos, watching in disbelief as 12 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy fled from a few small insects. Lieutenant Miller's translation device was overwhelmed with frantic communications. "They're terrified, Commander. Something about parasites? Invasive organisms?" A mosquito landed on Zargathon's arm. Before anyone could react, it pierced the alien's skin. Zargathon let out a shriek that needed no translation and slapped at the insect, leaving a small smear of blue blood. "Medical emergency." The alien's voice shook with fear. "I've been penetrated by the Earth predator." Armed security personnel in sealed suits rushed into the chamber. They surrounded the humans, pointing weapons that looked like advanced flamethrowers. "Please remain still for containment," one ordered through a translator. "You are now under quarantine protocols." The humans were herded into a side chamber while decontamination teams swept through the council room. Through a window, Commander Wright watched as technicians in sealed suits meticulously captured each mosquito, placing them in heavy containment fields. "This is absurd," Dr. Cooper said. "It's just a mosquito bite." Hours passed before Zargathon appeared at their door, now wearing what appeared to be a full environmental suit. The alien's movements were stiff, fearful. "Your mosquito has injected me with a foreign substance," Zargathon said. "Our medical team says it contains proteins meant to prevent blood clotting. It was feeding on me." The alien's voice quavered. "Is this typical behavior of Earth organisms?" Commander Wright nodded slowly. "Many Earth species have evolved parasitic relationships. Mosquitoes feed on blood, but they're generally just a nuisance to humans." "A nuisance?" Zargathon seemed shocked. "This creature bypassed my dermal layer as if it wasn't there. No species in the known galaxy has evolved to penetrate protective layers and extract bodily fluids. None except yours, apparently." Dr. Baker stepped forward. "I deeply apologize for the accident, but I don't understand the reaction. Surely other worlds have parasites." Zargathon's suit lights flashed in what might have been incredulity. "Not like this. Most evolved worlds developed strong exterior protection early. There was never an evolutionary advantage to becoming microscopic predators." The humans exchanged glances as understanding dawned. In a galaxy of large creatures with natural armor, Earth's tiny parasites were utterly alien and terrifying. "The Council has called an emergency session," Zargathon continued. "Until further notice, you are confined to your ship. We must re-evaluate Earth's status." As the humans were escorted back to the Pathfinder, they passed a large screen displaying what appeared to be news. Though they couldn't read the text, the image was clear. A magnified mosquito, its proboscis extended, presented like some monster from a horror film. Commander Wright had a sinking feeling. "I think," she said quietly, "first contact just went very, very wrong." Back aboard the Pathfinder, the mood was tense. The ship had been moved to a distant docking arm of the massive space station, isolated from all other vessels. Warning beacons floated around them, displaying symbols that needed no translation. Lieutenant Josh Miller stared at the communication screen, trying to make sense of the alien messages flooding in. "They're calling us harbingers," when he said, looking up at Commander Wright. "And there's a word that keeps appearing that translates roughly as microscopic death carriers." Commander Wright rubbed her temples. "All this over a few mosquitoes? It's been 3 days. We need to speak with someone in authority." As if on cue, the communication panel chimed. Zargathon's face appeared on screen. The alien diplomat still wore a protective suit, but this one was less bulky than before. "Commander Wright, the Council has reached a preliminary decision regarding Earth and its delegation," Zargathon said formally. "We're eager to hear it," Wright replied, standing straighter. "A full quarantine of your vessel and crew will remain in effect," the alien continued. "However, we wish to learn more about your biological situation." Our scientists have requested to speak with your medical and biology experts. Dr. Lisa Cooper stepped forward. We would be happy to share information. There seems to be a significant misunderstanding about Earth biology. Zargathon's facial membranes fluttered in what the humans had learned was a sign of distress. The Council is particularly concerned about reports that your world contains thousands of species of these parasites. Is this accurate? Dr. Peter Baker joined them, still looking ashamed about the mosquito incident. Yes, that's correct. Earth's ecosystem is built on complex relationships between organisms of all sizes. And these organisms, they feed on other living creatures without killing them immediately? Zargathon asked, the translation unable to hide the horror in the alien's voice. Many do, yes, Dr. Baker replied. It's a successful evolutionary strategy on Earth. The silence that followed was uncomfortable. Finally, Zargathon spoke again. A team of our biologists will meet with you tomorrow. They will work from isolation chambers. Please prepare your information carefully. The screen went dark. Dr. Cooper turned to Commander Wright. They really are terrified of our parasites. I wonder why. Let's find out, Wright replied. Miller, see if you can access their biological databases through our approved channels. Baker, Cooper, prepare a presentation that will reassure them. We're not walking bioweapons. The next day, the humans gathered in a special conference room. The alien scientists appeared on large screens, safely separated by both distance and technology. Dr. Baker began a careful explanation of Earth's ecosystem and the role of parasites. As he spoke, Dr. Cooper noticed something odd about the alien biological data displayed on her tablet. Excuse me, she interrupted, but according to these readings, none of your species have specialized white blood cells? The lead alien scientist, a squid-like being named Zrel, confirmed this. Of course not. Why would we need such cells, Doctor? Cooper looked shocked. To fight infections, to protect against microscopic threats. Our protective outer layers prevent such threats, another scientist replied. No organism small enough to enter our bodies could possibly be large enough to harm us. At least, that was what we believed before encountering Earth life, Baker. And Cooper exchanged glances as understanding dawned. Most alien species had evolved thick protective layers, shells, exoskeletons, armored hide, that completely prevented parasite entry. They had never developed complex immune systems because they never needed them. So when our mosquito pierced Zargathon's skin, Baker began, it was like discovering a predator that could phase through solid walls. Zrel finished. Before your arrival, such a thing was biologically impossible in our understanding of life. Commander Wright stepped forward. But surely your worlds have their own microscopic life, bacteria, viruses. Yes, but they are decomposers, not predators, Zrel explained. They break down dead matter. They do not hunt living beings by penetrating their defenses. For the next several hours, the human scientists shared more information about Earth's complex ecosystem. The more they explained, the more concerned the alien scientists became. Let me understand correctly, Zrel said finally. Your planet contains thousands of species that can bypass outer defenses to feed on other organisms. You carry billions of microorganisms on and inside your bodies at all times. And you consider this normal? It's the only normal we've ever known, Dr. Cooper replied. Our biology evolved alongside these organisms. We developed immune systems to keep them in check. One alien scientist disconnected abruptly after seeing images of ticks burrowing into skin. Another seemed fascinated but horrified by the concept of intestinal parasites. When the meeting ended, the humans felt they had made little progress. Commander Wright called the crew together in the ship's mess hall. The situation is worse than we thought, she said. We're not just dealing with fear of the unknown. Earth genuinely represents a biological paradigm they've never encountered. So what do we do? Lieutenant Miller asked. We can't exactly change our biology. No. But we can help them understand it, Dr. Cooper said. I've been reviewing the biological samples they shared. Their immune systems are incredibly primitive compared to ours. They've never needed to develop defenses against internal threats. Dr. Baker nodded. That's why they're so afraid. A single mosquito to us is nothing, an annoyance. To them, it's a predator that can breach defenses thought impenetrable. As they talked, a new message arrived from the Galactic Council. Commander Wright read it aloud, her expression growing darker with each word. Earth has been classified as a death world, she said finally. All human expansion beyond our solar system is to be restricted and monitored. Any ships leaving Earth must undergo complete biological decontamination. They're treating us like a plague, Miller said, shocked. From their perspective, we are one, Cooper replied quietly. We evolved alongside parasites that could kill most alien species. Our mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, they're not just annoying to aliens, they're existential threats. A week later, as the Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth, Zargathon requested a final meeting with Commander Wright. This time, the alien diplomat wore only a thin protective suit. I wish to speak with you directly, Zargathon said. The Council's decision may seem harsh, but it comes from genuine concern. I understand, Wright replied. But isolation isn't the answer. We need to work together to find solutions. Zargathon's skin rippled with changing colors. Perhaps some on the Council see potential in your resilience. Humans have evolved alongside microscopic predators and survived. That is remarkable. We don't just survive, Wright said. We thrive, and we want to be part of this galactic community. That may be possible in time, Zargathon said. A joint research station is being proposed at Proxima Centauri, your scientists, and ours, working to bridge this biological gap. As Commander Wright left the meeting, she felt a mix of hope and concern. Humanity's journey to the stars would be more complicated than anyone had imagined, all because Earth's tiniest creatures had become the galaxy's most feared predators. 6 months had passed since first contact. The joint research station orbiting Proxima Centauri was now fully operational. Named Bridge Station, as a symbol of hope for cooperation, it housed 20 human scientists and 30 alien researchers from 8 different species. Kevin Daniels, the station supervisor, looked out the observation window at the red dwarf star. He was tired. Keeping peace between humans and aliens who fundamentally feared human biology was exhausting work. His tablet beeped with an incoming message. It was from Maria Garcia, one of the station's engineers. Kevin, we have a situation in hydroponics. Section 3, you need to see this. When Kevin arrived at the hydroponics bay, Maria was standing next to a large tank of water plants. Her face looked grim. What's the problem? Kevin asked. Maria pointed to the surface of the water. Look closely. Kevin leaned in and saw them. Tiny wiggling forms moving through the water. Mosquito larvae. Somehow a few mosquitoes had made it onto the station and found the perfect breeding ground. How did this happen? Kevin asked, already dreading the answer. Maria shook her head. The eggs must have been in one of the plant shipments from Earth. We scanned for adult insects, but the eggs are microscopic. They just needed water to hatch. We need to eliminate them before any alien sees this, Kevin said. If they find out we accidentally brought mosquitoes to the station after everything that happened with the Council. Too late. A shadow fell across the tank. They turned to see Zrel, the squid-like alien scientist, hovering in the doorway. All 6 of Zrel's eyes were fixed on the water tank. Are those the blood-feeding predators? Zrel's translator voice was flat, but the rapid color changes across the alien's skin showed extreme distress. Yes, but just larvae. They can't hurt anyone yet, Maria explained quickly. We'll destroy them immediately. But Zrel had already backed away, tentacles waving in alarm patterns. I must inform the others. Station containment has been breached. Within an hour, the station was in chaos. The alien scientists had locked themselves in their quarters, demanding emergency evacuation. 3 different distress signals had been sent to the Galactic Council. Every human on the station was trying to contain the situation. Dr. Lisa Cooper, who had transferred to the station from the Pathfinder, worked frantically in the lab. She and Dr. Baker had been developing special protective measures for aliens. Now time had run out. "The barriers are ready," she told Kevin over the communication system. "But I need to convince at least one alien to try them." By evening they had eliminated all the mosquito larvae, but the damage was done. Even worse, 2 alien researchers who had been working near the hydroponics section reported being bitten by adult mosquitoes that had already hatched. The medical bay was sealed off as Dr. Cooper treated the victims, a crystal-skinned mathematician named Vril and a furry bear-like botanist called Grunak. Both were convinced they were dying, despite showing no serious symptoms. "Please remain calm," Dr. Cooper said as she examined Vril. "The reaction is similar to what happened with Zargathon. Some itching, minor swelling at the bite site. Your body is detecting the foreign proteins, but they aren't harming you." "Not harming?" Vril's crystal skin flashed with patterns of fear. "The creature drank my bodily fluids. It inserted its proboscis through my protective layer as if it wasn't there." Grunak rumbled in agreement from the next bed. "The histories speak of ancient predator species that could phase through solid matter. We thought them myths. Now we know the myths came to your world and evolved there." Dr. Cooper sighed. "That's not how it works. Look, I have something that might help you understand." She showed them images from her tablet. Microscopic views of human skin with a mosquito proboscis penetrating it, followed by white blood cells attacking the foreign proteins. "See? Our bodies fight these invaders all the time. They bite us too. We've just evolved defenses." The aliens watched in horror and fascination. "Your bodies wage microscopic wars constantly," Vril whispered. "How do you sleep knowing such battles rage within you?" Before Dr. Cooper could answer, an alert sounded throughout the station. An emergency message from the Galactic Council had arrived. Kevin called all senior staff to the command center. "It's bad," he told them when they gathered. "The Council has ordered the station evacuated and sterilized. They're treating this as a level 1 biological contamination." Maria slammed her hand on the table. "That's ridiculous. It's just a few mosquitoes." "To them, it's like we release tiny predators that can walk through walls," Kevin replied. The council vote was nearly unanimous. "Nearly?" Dr. Baker asked. "Zargathon abstained," Kevin said, "and left a private message for us." He played the recording. Zargathon's image appeared, still in a protective suit but with the helmet removed. "Humans of Bridge Station. I regret the Council's decision. Some of us believe cooperation remains possible. The protective measures your scientists were developing show promise. Do not lose hope." The message ended. The room was silent for a moment. "We have 48 hours before the evacuation ships arrive," Kevin said finally. "Let's make them count." For the next 2 days, the human scientists worked without sleep. Dr. Cooper and her team finalized their designs for special barrier suits that would protect aliens from Earth parasites. Maria and her engineering team built a prototype containment system that could filter microorganisms from the air. Dr. Baker had the most difficult task, convincing at least some of the alien scientists to listen. He went door to door, talking, through sealed barriers to terrified aliens. "I know you're scared," he told Zarel through the locked laboratory door. "But running away doesn't solve the problem. Earth exists. Humans exist. Our biology isn't going to change. The Council will likely vote to quarantine your entire planet," Zarel replied. "No human ships permitted beyond your solar system." "And you think that's sustainable?" Baker asked. "Humans are explorers. We'll keep pushing outward. Better to find a way to coexist than pretend we can avoid each other forever." On the final day, as the evacuation ships approached, something unexpected happened. Vril and Grunak, the 2 aliens who had been bitten, called a meeting of all station personnel, human and alien alike. They stood before their colleagues wearing the prototype barrier suits Dr. Cooper had designed. "We have experienced the Earth. Predators bite," Grunak rumbled. "It was frightening, yes, but we survived." Vril's crystal skin glowed softly. "The humans have lived alongside these organisms for their entire evolutionary history. If they can adapt, Perhaps we can learn. The galaxy is vast, Grunak continued, but not infinite. Eventually, all species must learn to coexist. Retreating from biological differences solves nothing. 3 other alien scientists stepped forward, requesting the barrier suits. A small victory, but significant. As the evacuation began, Kevin received word that the Galactic Council had amended its order. Bridge Station would not be destroyed, merely decontaminated and rebuilt with stronger biological safeguards. And 5 alien scientists had requested permission to continue working with the humans. It wasn't much, but it was a start. As Kevin watched the evacuation ship's dock, he received one more message from Commander Wright aboard the Pathfinder, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic vessel. Hold the line, Kevin. This was always going to be a long process. The Council may fear our smallest predators, but they're starting to respect the humans who evolved alongside them. 3 months after the mosquito incident at Bridge Station, Commander Allison Wright sat in her ready room aboard the Pathfinder. The ship had been refitted as Earth's diplomatic vessel, traveling between human colonies and alien worlds that were willing to meet with them. It wasn't many. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Lieutenant Josh Miller's voice came through the speaker. Commander, we're receiving an urgent message from Zargathon. Priority 1. Put it through, Wright said, straightening her uniform. Zargathon's face appeared on screen. The alien diplomat looked troubled. The skin around his eyes darkened with stress. Commander Wright, I contact you on a matter of utmost urgency. The Council needs Earth's help. Wright couldn't hide her surprise. After months of being treated like walking bioweapons, this was unexpected. What kind of help? A hostile species has entered Council space, Zargathon said. They call themselves the Harvesters. 3 outer worlds have already fallen. Their ships are unlike anything we've encountered. I'm sorry to hear that, Wright said carefully. But what can Earth do? Our technology is far behind yours. Zargathon's skin rippled with agitation. It is not your technology we need. It's your biological adaptations. Understanding dawned on Wright's face. You want to use our parasites as weapons? Not exactly, Zargathon replied. The Harvesters have overrun Elara, an agricultural world. Our weapons cannot penetrate their ship defenses, but our scans show something interesting about their biology. The screen changed to show images of tall, insect-like beings with segmented bodies and thin exoskeletons. The Harvesters have no internal immune system, Zargathon continued. Like most galactic species, they evolved with strong external protection instead. But unlike us, they have joints and segments in their armor. Small openings. Wright leaned forward. Openings that Earth parasites could penetrate. Precisely. The Council is divided on this matter. Many fear bringing humans and Earth organisms anywhere near the conflict. Others believe we have no choice. After the transmission ended, Commander Wright called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. Dr. Baker and Dr. Cooper had been recalled to the Pathfinder after the Bridge Station incident, bringing their research with them. They want us to weaponize mosquitoes, Wright told them, or ticks or fleas or whatever might work against these Harvesters. Dr. Baker looked troubled. Using biological agents as weapons crosses many ethical lines, Commander. I know, Wright replied. But we're talking about saving billions of lives. The Harvesters don't negotiate. They strip planets of all organic matter and move on. Dr. Cooper pulled up data on her tablet. We've been studying how our parasites affect alien biology. We might be able to modify certain organisms to target the Harvesters specifically. Like a guided missile that only affects them? Lieutenant Miller asked. Something like that. Cooper nodded. We could use genetic markers to ensure the parasites only target Harvester biology. Commander Wright paced the room. Earth has been pushing for acceptance in the galactic community. This could be our chance to prove our value. But using biological weapons even against invaders. If we do nothing, billions die, Miller pointed out. If we help, we save those lives, but set a precedent for using Earth organisms as weapons. The debate continued for hours. Finally, Wright made her decision. We'll offer our help, but with conditions. This is a one-time emergency measure, and we control the organisms at all times. 2 weeks later, the Pathfinder approached the edge of the Alara system. 3 massive harvester ships surrounded the green planet, methodically stripping it of life. The Pathfinder hung back, hidden behind a small moon. On the bridge, Commander Wright and her crew watched the tactical display. A small council fleet kept its distance from the harvesters, outmatched and outgunned. Dr. Baker and Dr. Cooper worked in the ship's lab, making final adjustments to their creation. They had modified tick DNA, creating a version that would specifically target harvester biology. The ticks would attach to the joints in harvester armor, injecting a fast-acting neurotoxin that would paralyze but not kill. "Are you sure this will work?" Wright asked, looking at the container of modified ticks. "In theory," Dr. Cooper said. "The ticks are programmed to die after one feeding. They can't reproduce. Once they've done their job, they'll simply break down," Dr. Baker added. "And they're keyed specifically to harvester biology. They won't affect any other species." Wright nodded. "Deploy the delivery system." The Pathfinder released dozens of small drone-like pods that spiraled toward the harvester ships. Too small to register as weapons, they attached to the hulls of the enemy vessels. "Now we wait," Wright said. Hours passed with no visible change. The crew grew tense. Then Lieutenant Miller noticed something on the scanner. "Commander, the harvester ships are showing unusual movement patterns." On the tactical display, the massive ships began to drift. Their previously precise movements became erratic. Several smaller craft launched from the main ships, but they, too, moved strangely, as if their pilots were struggling to control them. "It's working," Dr. Cooper said quietly. "The ticks have found their targets." A message came through from the Council fleet. Zargathon's face appeared on screen. "Commander Wright, what have you done? The harvester ships are beginning to retreat. We introduced them to one of Earth's smallest apex predators," Wright replied. "Modified to affect only them. Your people should be able to approach safely now." Over the next day, they watched as the harvester forces withdrew completely from the Alara system. The Council fleet moved in to secure the planet. Reports indicated that while much damage had been done, billions of lives had been saved. The Pathfinder received permission to dock with the Council flagship. Commander Wright, Dr. Baker, and Dr. Cooper transported over to meet with Zargathon and several Council representatives. The meeting chamber was tense. Most of the aliens still wore protective suits, eyeing the humans with a mixture of fear and newfound respect. "The Council acknowledges your assistance in this crisis," the lead representative said formally. "Your biological adaptations proved effective where our weapons failed." "We're glad we could help," Wright replied. "But I want to be clear. This was an emergency measure. Earth will not provide biological weapons for regular use." Zargathon stepped forward. "Some on the Council now see Earth's unique evolution in a new light. What we feared as a threat may also be a shield." "What happens now?" Wright asked. "The quarantine restrictions on human vessels will be eased," the Council representative said. "And a proposal has been made to establish a permanent Earth embassy in Council space." As they returned to the Pathfinder, Dr. Baker smiled for the first time in days. "So it took a worse threat for them to accept us. I'm not sure how I feel about that." "It's a start," Commander Wright said. "They feared our smallest predators because they'd never encountered anything like them. Now they see there's an advantage to our evolutionary path." Dr. Cooper nodded. "We evolved alongside parasites and developed defenses against them. That makes us uniquely suited to handle threats that other species can't." As the Pathfinder pulled away from the Council fleet, Wright looked out at the stars. Earth's path into the galactic community would be complex, but they had taken a crucial step. The galaxy still feared Earth's smallest apex predators, but now they respected the humans who had mastered them. 1 year after the Harvester conflict, Earth had gained a new status in the galactic community. The planet once feared for its microscopic predators was now seen as a valuable, if still somewhat frightening ally. Commander Allison Wright stood at the observation window of the newly built Earth Embassy on the Galactic Council station. The massive structure floated at the edge of neutral space, its design reflecting both human architecture and alien considerations. Special filtration systems and biological barriers were built into every wall and doorway, satisfying the Council's safety requirements while allowing humans to move freely. Quite a view, isn't it? Dr. Peter Baker joined her at the window. He had been appointed as Earth's scientific liaison to the Council, a position that would have been unthinkable before the Harvester invasion. Hard to believe how much has changed, Wright agreed. 1 year ago they wanted to quarantine our entire planet. Now we have an embassy. Fear and respect often go hand in hand, Baker said, watching as ships from dozens of worlds docked at the station. They still fear our biology, but they respect what we did with it. A soft chime indicated an incoming message. Dr. Lisa Cooper's face appeared on the nearby screen. She was back on Earth, leading the newly formed Galactic Biological Exchange Program. Good news from home, she said. The Council approved our proposal. 20 alien scientists will arrive on Earth next month to begin training in our biological containment methods. Wright smiled. That's a huge step forward. How's the vaccine research going? Promising, Cooper replied. We've developed temporary immunity boosters for 3 major alien species. They won't have to wear those bulky suits when visiting Earth anymore. Just take a shot once a month. And how are our visitors adjusting? Wright asked. Cooper's expression turned amused. They still jump when they see a mosquito, but they're learning. Zargathon actually held a caterpillar yesterday. Baby steps. After the call ended, Wright and Baker made their way to the Council chamber. Today marked an important milestone, the official recognition of Earth as a protected evolutionary zone, rather than a quarantined threat. The chamber was packed with representatives from over 30 worlds. Most still maintained a careful distance from the human delegation, but the outright fear of previous meetings was noticeably diminished. Zargathon, now promoted to senior council facilitator, called the session to order. Today we formalize a new understanding between Earth and the Galactic Council. What we once viewed as a biological hazard, we now recognize as a unique evolutionary path with its own strengths and insights. The lead council member, a massive being with crystalline skin that sparkled under the chamber lights, spoke next. Earth will be classified as a protected evolutionary crucible, a world whose biological development took a rare and valuable path that must be preserved and studied. Wright stepped forward when invited to speak. On behalf of Earth and all humans, we accept this designation with gratitude. Our journey among the stars has not been easy, but we have always sought understanding rather than conflict. After the ceremony, a reception was held in the embassy's main hall. Special accommodations allowed aliens and humans to mingle safely. Most alien guests still wore protective suits, though noticeably thinner ones than before. Zarel, the squid-like scientist from Bridge Station, approached Wright with a new mechanical appendage that allowed for a human-style handshake without direct contact. Your smallest predators saved my homeworld, Zarel said. The translator conveyed not just words but emotional undertones, respect mixed with lingering caution. 3 of my clutch siblings lived on Alara. They would have perished if the harvesters had not been driven away. I'm glad we could help, Wright replied. That's all we've wanted from the beginning, to be helpful members of the galactic community. You are that and more, Zarel said. My research team has begun studying your immune systems in earnest. Such complexity, such adaptability. My species never developed such features because we never needed them. Now I wonder what else we might have missed in our evolution. Lieutenant Josh Miller joined them, carrying a datapad with the latest reports from human exploration vessels. Since the Harvester incident, Earth ships had been granted access to previously restricted regions of space. The Franklin expedition made contact with the Nayari yesterday, he told Wright. They were initially hesitant about humans until they learned we helped stop the Harvesters. Then they practically rolled out the welcome mat. Good news travels fast, Wright said. As does fear, a deep voice added. They turned to see Grunak, the bear-like botanist, who had been one of the first aliens to advocate for cooperation with humans. Make no mistake, Commander. The galaxy still fears Earth's smallest apex predators, but now they fear losing access to them even more. Later that evening, as the reception wound down, Wright found herself alone with Zargathon on the embassy's terrace. The vast swirl of the galaxy spread out before them, countless worlds spinning through the darkness. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first met?" Wright asked. "When that mosquito caused a station-wide panic?" Zargathon's skin rippled with what she now recognized as amusement. "Never. In my wildest dreams, I could not have foreseen Earth beings becoming valuable allies because of the very traits that terrified us." "Life is full of ironies," Wright agreed. "The Council is establishing a new defense protocol," Zargathon said. "If the Harvesters or any similar threat returns, Earth will be called upon immediately. Your biological innovations are now considered our most effective deterrent." "We're happy to help protect the galaxy," Wright said. "But I hope our relationship can grow beyond that. There's so much we can learn from each other." "Indeed. Which is why the Council has approved a new initiative." Zargathon handed her a data crystal. "Plans for joint colony worlds, humans and other species living together with appropriate safety measures, of course." Wright stared at the crystal in disbelief. "Joint colonies? That's incredible progress. Dr. Cooper calls it exposure therapy," Zargathon said. "The more we interact with humans under controlled conditions, the less we fear your biology." As Wright looked out at the stars once more, she felt a profound sense of hope. Earth's journey among the stars had begun with fear and misunderstanding, all because of mosquitoes and ticks and fleas. The galaxy had trembled at humanity's smallest companions, creatures humans had lived alongside for millennia. Now those same tiny predators had opened doors across the stars. Earth was no longer feared as a death world, but respected as a source of unique strength and resilience. "To the future," Wright said, raising her glass to the galaxy spread before them. "To coexistence," Zargathon replied, "with all creatures great and small." As they stood there, news arrived from a distant outpost. Another hostile force had been detected moving toward Council space. But this time, instead of panic, the message carried a note of confidence. "Send for the humans," it said. "We need their smallest guardians once more."